Sabrang Radio 94.7 ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਲਿਸਨਰ ਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਥੀ ਜੈਨ ਚੌਧਰੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਨਮਸਕਾਰ ਤੇ ਆਦਾਬ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਟੈਡ ਮੋਰਟਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਰ ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੈਂਪੇਨ ਆਫਿਸ 'ਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ। ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਵਾਲ ਜਵਾਬ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਤੇ ਪੁੱਛਾਂਗੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗਾ। ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਪੁੱਛਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਕੀ ਏਜੰਡਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਰ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਲਬਰਟਾ ਸਟੇਟ ਦੇ।
Very happy to be here, Rajesh, and look forward to the interview.
Sabrang Radio is a South Asian radio station, and our listeners want to listen future premier share. So, what are the things you are promoting in your event?
I think two of the big issues that the Ted Morton government will bring will be continued economic growth and good job opportunity for all Albertans. The Stelmach government did not work as well as it could have and should have with industries to keep the economy growing, and particularly with all of the difficulties in the U.S. and European economy, we need a government that helps create growth and jobs. And I know all of your listeners want to see continued economic growth and job opportunity for themselves and also for their children.
We want to welcome Dr. Ted Morton, who is one of the premier candidates for Alberta. Dr. Morton is sitting right in front of us, and the very first thing, Dr. Morton, we want to ask you, because most of our listeners are South Asian people. One of the focus they always give on family values. So I know that I was going through a website, and we've seen that you will be focusing on family values too. And if you can give us some enlightenment on what your plans are.
I think the family is the most important unit of society, and so I think strong families are the key to strong, successful societies, and that's been true in Alberta right since Alberta was founded. It was part of the pioneer spirit, and I know many of the Southeast Asian community families that have come here carry that tradition with them. So I'm committed to helping families as the Premier. I am a strong believer in the right of parents to choose what their children learn, the principle of parental choice, and I'll make sure that we continue to have not just the public and the separate systems, but also charter schools, homeschooling, the option for second language education schools on weekends, the full choice for parents. For older children, I've proposed that are in high school or on their way to university, a post-secondary tuition tax credit, which will make it much more affordable for your listeners' children to go to college, to SAIT, to Mount Royal, to the University of Calgary. This tuition tax credit will return up to $20,000 in tuition paid if the student stays in Alberta, completes the program, stays in Alberta and works. You'll get tuition tax credits back worth $20,000. And then finally, for seniors, I'm proposing two programs for seniors. One, a property tax deferral system. British Columbia has something like this already, so that if seniors own their own home and want to stay in their own home, but they're getting pressured by property tax, they can defer paying that tax until they sell the home. So it helps seniors stay, live in dignity, and have greater choice. Also, a second program, which I know will appeal to the Indian community, what's called the Family Caregiver Tax Credit. Harper introduced this at the federal level already, and it says if you take care of an older family member, a parent or a grandparent, you can get up to $2,000 a year tax credits against the money you spend to help take care of that parent. I'll match that at the provincial level, so basically it'll double that number to $4,000 a year. So we have something for older members of the family, something for the family, for university age students, and also for younger students.
Dr. Morton, in terms of international bilateral trades with Alberta and the rest of the world, particularly in Asia, like China and India, what's your plan to do bilateral business with India, China, and big countries in Asia with Alberta?
Now is the time to seize the opportunity for increased trade with both China and India. We see with both the European and U.S. economies struggling, the opportunities for growth in the global economy are primarily in Asia, India, and China. And Alberta is very, very well situated to take advantage of that for two reasons. One, we do energy, oil and gas, forestry, agriculture. There are markets in both India and China for those. But secondly, we have the human bridge, so to speak. We have so many members of both the Chinese community and the Indo-Pakistani community that can act as the middlemen or the bridges between Alberta and those new markets. So I'm strongly committed to exploring and opening up those new venues of trade, particularly on the energy and agriculture side. We'll get much better prices for Alberta products if we can bridge into those markets. And I'm committed to doing that, and I'm committed to relying on and using members of those Chinese and Indo-Pakistani communities that are here in Alberta now to help us make the right connections back in their homelands.
In terms of tourism in Alberta, Alberta is truly a jewel in the crown. Because of oil sands, we have seen that in UK and also in the US, the people have tarnished our image. If telling people not to visit Alberta, how will you bring back our image?
Well, we need to do a better job on environment in the oil sands, and two, we need then to communicate that better to the rest of the world. I helped design and draft the Alberta Land Stewardship Act, which is the key piece of policy that allows us to develop regional plans to improve environmental outcomes. And of course, in northern Alberta, that means the oil sands. So we've drafted that plan. It's called the Lower Athabasca Regional Plan. It's been through lots of public consultation. It's now at the final approval stage, and that has already been recognized internationally as showing that Alberta is taking positive, concrete steps to improve environmental outcomes. So we're taking that step. We have to, but now we have to communicate it more effectively. And I'll certainly, both as the Premier, of course, is the primary spokesman for the province, particularly when he or she travels to Washington or abroad, but I would also use our trade offices as well to get the message out that Alberta does care about the environment, and Alberta is taking very positive steps to improve environmental outcomes.
People from other countries come to Alberta, and they come because of opportunity. They still think that Alberta is a land of milk and honey. But when they come here, particularly people who are doctors and nurses from various parts of the world, and they do not become doctors and nurses because of the protocols, because of the red tape, because of the plans that we have that does not welcome people from other parts of the world to profess their profession. What's your plan in terms of healthcare and also foreign professionals coming to Alberta who cannot be in their profession?
I will make it one of the highest priorities of the Ted Morton government to review and expedite the foreign credential recognition process. I've met dozens and dozens of people from China, India, Pakistan, Africa, Nigeria, who are trained doctors, trained nurses, trained engineers, and who are not being able to work up to their professional training because of foot dragging by professional associations here. So my proposal is, one of the first things I'll do is appoint a new committee. The committee will be charged with identifying priority issues and what steps should be taken to deal with the policy needs of new Canadians. And I know that a more rapid and easy recognition of foreign credentials will be right at the top of that list. We'll appoint that committee in 1st of November, and we'll ask for the report to be tabled by May 1st of next year. And that will give us our action agenda to go forward.
Dr. Morton, the media in Calgary, both in Calgary and in Edmonton, they are giving statistics every day in various newspapers and in television. How legitimate are the numbers there?
Well, newspapers love polls, right? Because it gives them something to write a story about, and they need to write stories to sell their newspapers. These most recent polls are not very reliable. They're based on just an interview with 800 people drawn by a sample of, I think it's 20,000 members. We know that on Saturday there'll be close to 100,000 people voting, and the 20,000 people that they've interviewed already are mainly the traditional party members. They're voting for the status quo, and Gary Marr, who's these polls say are leading, he is the status quo candidate. For people that want to see change in the party, I think the next 80,000 people that register between now and for the memberships that have been bought but not reported, the next 80,000 are people that are looking for change, and we think a lot of that change will go for support for Ted Morton.
We know that it's only 72 hours to go for voting in Calgary, and we wish you, Dr. Morton, good luck, and thanks for your time.
Thank you, and I'm very, very pleased to be here for the interview, and I appreciate your taking the time also.
Finally, Dr. Morton, what message you want to convey to our South Asian listeners, like those are listening to your interview right now?
My message to South Asian listeners would be, I'm committed to making sure the next 40 years in Alberta are just as prosperous and have the same opportunity as the last 40 have. So continued economic growth, job creation, keeping taxes low, and adequate funding for healthcare and education. I'm a strong proponent of public health care, and I will make sure that everybody has adequate access to public health care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.